Wasn't us. KNH staff and activists clash over rape allegations at the facility.
It's sad that even the presidency, when Kenyans are expecting a lot from them to fix their cabinet, to ensure that they have there is service delivery in government, now they are busy in trying to ensure that Keteri is not a chairman of Labour and Social Welfare.
Jubilee cracks the whip on rebel MPs, but they're not going down without a fight.
Mr. Speaker.
Clawing back on progress, MPs want mileage allowance restored months after SRC disbandment.
Kakamega pupils learn in dire circumstances as free secondary education debate rages on.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi and Mark Masai.
Hi there, thanks very much for joining us. Tonight, our sign language interpreter is Flora Atieno.
And just some breaking news at this moment. A tanker has overturned at Kachok roundabout in Kisumu. 3 people, including a 2-month-old baby, are feared dead after they were hit by the vehicle. A few others are said to have been trapped, and as at the moment, residents of Nyalenda are siphoning fuel from the tanker that has overturned, oblivious of the risk. And that is that a tank has overturned at Kachok roundabout in Kisumu. 3 people are feared dead, and hopefully those who are siphoning fuel will stop, because there is a particular risk at this moment, being an oil tanker and what has happened in history.
All right, more on that story as and when we get further details. But first, members of Parliament are set to earn millions of shillings in mileage allowances after the Parliamentary Service Commission that pays the MPs' salaries reverted to the previous remuneration package, pending the outcome of a court case challenging the new SRC salary structure.
The High Court temporarily barred the SRC from implementing the slash pay for state officers and members of Parliament after the Parliamentary Service Commission accused the SRC of failing to comply with the law when conducting the salary review. Well,
in the new pay structure, MPs were set to lose some of their fat allowances, such as mileage claims and special responsibility allowances.
In a memo to MPs dated the 19th of January 2018, members of Parliament can now fill out mileage reimbursement claim forms and pocket millions of shillings in mileage claims, just as they used to before the SRC in July last year gazetted the new pay structure. The Parliamentary Service Commission will reimburse funds that members of Parliament used to travel to their constituencies until a case filed by the PSC and that challenges the SRC new pay structure is determined. PSC went to court in December last year to challenge the new SRC pay order that slashed the MPs' pay and a number of their allowances, including mileage claims. PSC argued SRC did not follow the law while conducting the salary review. The SRC, they also say, overstepped, as it was the PSC's job to set salaries and allowances for members of Parliament. MPs were to be the hardest hit in the new pay plan that SRC says would save the country 8 billion shillings every year. Apart from a lower salaries for MPs, the SRC also slashed mileage allowance and special responsibility allowance that the Commission says were prone to abuse. The SRC said there were claims of up to 2 million shillings per month. The Gazette notice containing the new pay plan and published on the 7th of July, among other things, abolished the car grant, reduced the number of sitting allowances for plenary sessions, as well as sitting allowances for committee meetings to 16 per month. Instead of mileage allowance, the SRC had created zones for which state officers will get a 1-month allowance. MPs were united in their push against the new pay, saying it was unbefitting of their status. The High Court temporarily stopped the SRC from implementing the new pay structure, but in the meantime, MPs are set to rake in millions of shillings in mileage claims as per the previous pay structure. The mileage claims will be calculated weekly. Part of the package includes a car maintenance allowance at 356,000 shillings payable every month with a payslip. The case against the SRC pay order will come up for hearing on the 29th of January. Sheila Sendeo, NTV.
Pressure continues to mount on the Kenyatta National Hospital to address allegations of rape at the facility.
Well, today, human rights activists marched to the hospital demanding answers in an event that turned into a confrontation with the hospital staff, who are adamantly denying accusations leveled against them.
NTV's Brenda Wanga reports on the growing storm over patient safety at KNH.
After days of trading barbs over the allegations of assault at the Kenyatta National Hospital, the two conflicting sides meet face to face. On one side of the fence, quite literally, women incensed by the tales of suffering of their fellow women at the hands of staff at the institution. On the other hand, the accused staff members, each of these groups adamant that they are standing on the side of the truth.
Wale watu ambao wamedanganya waandishi wa habari ya kwamba wamenachisiwa hapa hospitali ya Kenyatta, kama mtaandika statement, kwa sababu chama police walisema hakuna yeyote ambaye ameandika statement. Tunawapatia siku ya leo. Ikifika kesho, kama hakuna mtu yeyote ameenda kuandika statement, tunasema ya kwamba we are going to sue you. Amwezi kutuharibia China, we are going to sue you.
The reason we had to do this is we are used to a culture of administrations denying when things are brought to them. The first thing they do is deny without even giving us the opportunity to, an opportunity to the victims to come forth and say this ABCD happened. By denying outright, the victim who would have even come out first retreats.
The women had organized a march to petition the Ministry of Health and the hospital's management to take drastic measures to not only bring the alleged culprits of sexual abuse to book, but to also improve service delivery at the country's topmost referral hospital.
So we want first and foremost to get our voices out here to be heard, so that changes that should be done go ahead and get done. So we don't want anybody being raped in a hospital.
The hospital has, in the days following the revelations, denied that the abuse of mothers has been happening at the facility, demanding that the victims come to the fore, a move that has been roundly criticized by the human rights groups.
Of our patients or none of our any member of the public has recorded a statement with the police to confirm that he or she was raped on a specific day. So we are saying these are rumors and these are politics which we don't entertain as members of staff.
Some of the victims, about 7, were here today. So even as they were saying that these women are lying, they were here. They know what happened to them in there.
Aside from seeking to put an end to the molestation of mothers at KNH, the activists are also seeking to have the hospital get better equipment and more staff members. They also want the county government of Nairobi to better equip hospitals within the county to enable KNH to handle only referral cases. The protests and the counter-protest come as the Ministry of Health and the DCI launch investigations into the allegations of assault that continue to surface day by day.
The protesters say that this is just the beginning of a series of activities that they intend to take as they try to bring the management of the Kenyatta National Hospital to account for the assault cases that they say have been taking place regularly here at the institution. Brenda Wanga, NTV, Nairobi.
To a different form of pressure, and he failed to toe the party line and has now been voted out of his seat in what seems to be a plan dictated by the powers above. Nandi Hills MP Alfred Keter has lost his Labour Committee chairman post following a vote of no confidence by his Jubilee Party counterparts on Tuesday. But Enoxi Kolia reports that President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party maintains it was doing so to ensure equal distribution of leadership positions.
Yes, you're intimidating us. Give us a vote paper. We shall vote to remove you.
Battle lines were drawn. Immediately the call for vote was made.
I propose that then you step aside and we get another chair.
That is law.
A section of Jubilee MPs in the Labour Committee wanted Nandi Hills legislator Alfred Keter removed from the chairmanship of the committee.
This one you can't. I will vote by secret ballot. And I will vote. Give me the ballot paper. I will vote.
The bone of contention was on how to cast the vote of no confidence in Keter as the chair of the committee under the grip of the ruling Jubilee Party.
We We have to insist on the constitution.
The vocal MP, supported by NASA lawmakers, rooted for secret ballot, maintaining that Jubilee had hatched a well-oiled plan to ensure his ouster.
If you insist, Chair, because we have noticed the phone calls that are coming from State House, the phone calls that are coming from the clubs. If you insist, you can have your way. We walk out those members we think we have. You walk out, then you proceed.
We are not going to be people waiting to receive instructions from elsewhere. This is Parliament. We are elected leaders, and we must be allowed to exercise our democratic rights.
You can only record those who voted for, those who voted against, those who abstained. That's the only time, the only way for you to know that is by raise of hand.
Honorable Ole Songoko.
Yes.
NASA MPs and Keter maintained that raising a hand or a yes or no answer was a scheme by Jubilee MPs to intimidate their colleagues who are against the motion to remove him. But armed with numerical strength and with the presence of Aden Duale, the leader of majority, Jubilee MPs voted in favor of the removal of Keter.
Jubilee does not belong to two communities. Jubilee belongs to all Kenya.
Keter said passing a vote of no confidence would mean that the executive controls legislators, yet Parliament should be independent.
If indeed this motion was signed through gunpoint or dictatorship to some of you, members of Jubilee, then what precedents are we setting for this National Assembly?
Last week, President Uhuru Kenyatta summoned the 4 MPs who defied the party's directive to resign from the committees they were elected to head. Apart from Keter, the others were Moiben's Silas Tiren, Marakwet MP David Bowen, and Mgwen's Alex Kosgei. They defied a directive by Deputy President William Ruto to relinquish their seats. The 4 have been at loggerheads with Jubilee Party chiefs and Parliament after going against President Uhuru Kenyatta's preferences and working their way to committee leadership roles.
We are finding ourselves where we are today. Nothing malice, and there is nothing personal against our brother David Kagogo Bowen.
Thank you, Chairman, and now I'm forgetting the vice chair seat.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Chairman.
Jubilee has maintained that the move is to ensure regional balance. Enoch Kolia, NTV, Nairobi.
Well, the gloves are off and 4 committees of the National Assembly are now gearing up for yet another fight to install new leaders. Now, Alfred Keter of Nandi Hills, perhaps the most vocal of those ousted in the afternoon of drama and bitter exchange, is not giving up the fight for control of the powerful and influential Labour and Social Welfare Committee. He says the purported ouster, after a vote of no confidence against him, has no basis in law and is factually flawed. But the majority leader, Aden Duale, is already celebrating the big win. Ken Mujungu has the details.
Murimi, you know you are hiding.
Straight from ensuring victory for his Jubilee side that, to begin with, did not favor the leadership of their members that are accused of engineering their election, Aden Duale left no doubt as to what he felt of those who are now branded renegade members.
And we will not allow that. We are not going to relent. We are still the chairs of our specific committees because the purported vote of no confidence did not happen. They didn't follow the law. It was wrong.
We have brought back sanity to Jubilee. We have brought back party discipline to Jubilee. We have brought back how a presidential system of parliamentary business is run.
The resolution to remove the members, even though others heeded the call earlier on and stepped aside, was passed by Jubilee members of parliament who formed the majority in the committees. But the defiant Keter could hear none of Duale's sentiments.
And we will not allow, and this goes to Honorable Alfred Keter, we will not allow the shenanigans of last parliament. We will maintain discipline. We will maintain cohesiveness.
They've gone against the Constitution, against the standing orders, against the court orders. I don't know they're believing in what. This is a despotic move of ensuring that they control parliament.
But Duale sees this achievement as a return to party order. The 4 members of parliament who have been on the party's radar since the election in December are said to have gone against the Jubilee Party parliamentary group meeting that had divided the seats by region of representation.
And for your information, you don't need to be a chair or a vice chair to do your oversight role.
Armed with a court order that barred their removal, a defiant Keter insists that the 4 remain parliamentary committee leaders.
It is sad that even the presidency, when Kenyans are expecting a lot from them to fix their cabinet, to ensure that there is service delivery in government, now they are busy in trying to ensure that Keter is not a chairman of labor and social welfare.
The resolution of the committee will be communicated to the Liaison Committee chaired by the National Assembly Deputy Speaker Moses Cheboy. The Liaison Committee shall in turn direct the clerk of the National Assembly to call for a fresh election within 7 days from the date of its communication. Ken Mijungu, NTV.
Some disturbing news now. 28-year-old man has been arrested for defiling a 7-year-old girl at a Kisii town suburb. Peter Ongaro, an orthopedic specialist at Oasis Hospital in Kisii town, is said to have lured the minor into his house on Sunday and defiled her. The mother of the 7-year-old girl says she was playing outside with the suspect's 2 children when he lured her into his house. According to the mother, the Standard 2 pupil says this is not the first time it had happened. Tests carried out at the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, where she was rushed to for treatment, found traces of semen in her underpants. The orthopedic specialist was arrested on Monday after the parents reported him to the Kisii Central Police Station. He was arraigned today and was released on a 200,000 shilling bond with a surety of the same. The case will be mentioned on the 6th of February.
Kweli shida imekuwa nini? Nini imetendeka? Ndio sasa mtoto akaniambia nilikuwa kwa Tilani. Huyu mbaba sasa tulikuwa tunacheza na mtoto wake, akanichukua akanifuruta akaniweka kwa kitanda, akanitoa hiyo chupi, ndio sasa akanipaka.
All right, let's hope for justice for that little girl. To education matters now, and a school in Kakamega County is grappling with soaring student numbers and diminishing resources. The school, which has 405 pupils, has only 5 classrooms and no staff room. Well, Namukabo Werunga was at the school and tells us how the pupils are forced to learn in dilapidated structures.
Welcome to Muikoli DEB Primary School in Navaholo constituency, Kakamega County. This particular structure houses 2 classes. On one side is class 1 and the other side is class 2. Separating the 2 are thin cardboard. Class is in session here. Class 1 pupils are attending the social studies lesson, seemingly oblivious of their learning environment. The few desks available are shared by up to 5 pupils. The rest have to make do with a little space on the floor. On the other side, class 2 pupils are going through their English lesson for the day. The pupils in each class have to learn to concentrate on their particular teachers and somehow block the sounds from the other class. The same situation applies all the way to class 6. There are only 5 classrooms in the entire school.
Lakini kuna madarasa mawili ambayo yamekuwa complete, lakini madarasa mengine, hii building nyingine imekuwa condemned na public health kwa sababu iliweza kujengwa ikawekwa ikarufiwa kwa lindo, na ya kwamba katika hizo madarasa room 3 tumeweza kukatakata ndani tukaweka imekuwa 1 to 6.
Yes, the government, like in class 1 up to class 3, we are having textbooks. Like class 1 and 2, we are having textbooks in English, Swahili.
3 classes on this block have each been divided into 2, and lessons are conducted concurrently for all the 6 classes. Class 7 and 8 have a separate block with 2 classes. Despite the unconducive learning environment in this school, they managed a mean score of 280 during last year's KCPE examination, with the first student scoring 352 marks.
And now this one brings in the idea that if we can get people who can support to develop this school, give us a conducive learning environment, there's great potential that we are able to produce in these young children.
The teachers too have to make do with the limited resources in the school. With no staff room, the teachers have set desks outside the classes where they sit as they wait for their next lesson. Namukabo Werunga, NTV, Kakamega.
The Kenya Timber Manufacturers Association is threatening to sue environmental activists who claim the logging activities in some parts of Mount Kenya forest are illegal and has adverse effects on the environment. The association argues that the allegations are defamatory and that the logging activities have been authorized and are in accordance with the law. NTV's Melita Oletenges reports.
The logging activities in Mount Kenya forest has for the past few weeks been a bone of contention between environmental activists, sawmillers and the Kenya Forest Service. The activists insist the logging is illegal. The Kenya Forest Service and sawmillers say just the opposite.
Hiyo mambo imeandikwa na activist ya kusema kwamba miti inakatwa kiholela uholela, sio ya ukweli. Na tungetaka kuambia hiyo activist awache kutuharibia biashara. We are investors and we are very serious investors. Na mashini zetu they are not convertible. Haiwezi badilishwa iende kasi yake uga. Inaweza tu kupasua miti peke yake.
Wamepewa miti ile imekomaa, imefika 45 years. Kwa hivyo mtu akipewa miti 200, kuna boundary imewekwa. Na hiyo miti ameripia. Because hakuna mtu tunaweza kukubalia aende kukata hiyo miti bila kulipa.
The process of allocation of mature trees by the Kenya Forest Service includes a tendering process where tenders are awarded only to pre-qualified sawmillers who undergo a process of vetting which include inspection of their machinery in the sawmills. The sawmiller is only allowed to remove materials from the plantation after they have fully paid for the trees they intend to cut down. Thereafter, a tree felling plan reached between the sawmiller and the Kenya Forest Service is put in place, whereas the trees are hammer marked before they are transported out of the forest. But there have been concerns about the correlation between the diminishing trees and the drying riverbeds.
Central Highlands Conservancy has a forest cover of 20%. This is far away above the national target of 10%. So if there is anything, we should be proud.
For those people kusema tunaharibu, we are going to sue them for defamation. Our business are legally there. Na hakuna mtu anaingia pale msituni kabla hajalipa msitu. We pay.
Melita Oletenges, NTV.
You're watching NTV Tonight. We take our first break, after which
Tired of extortion, Bora Bora operators stormed Kipkelion police station accusing the OCS of aiding graft. Welcome back. Hundreds of border operators in Kericho County stormed the Kipkelion police station, demanding the removal of the OCS.
That's right. The irate operators claim the OCS has been colluding with some of the officers manning roadblocks in the area to extort them of their hard-earned money.
Well, they now want the Ministry of Interior and the EACC to crack down on what they believe is a corruption syndicate at the police roadblocks.
Kevin Mutai has more.
Tuesday morning on the busy Chepseon Kipkelion Road, hundreds of border operators armed with twigs and placards stormed Kipkelion police station with the aim of ejecting the officer commanding station. All this because of the roadblocks, which they say are bleeding them dry. Attempts to calm the irate youth fell on deaf ears. They want the OCS to be redeployed.
Kila wakati yeye akona koti yake hapa ya kutoa, mimi mtu akishikwa ananipigia simu, OCS amechukua boda, tukiongea naye anasema lazima utoe 2,000, 5,000.
Kuliko watu kule na wako na mshahara, tunasema leo hakuna, atutoi tena. Atutoi tena.
The Deputy County Commissioner Sebastian Okiring had to intervene and address the agitated youth, assuring them that the matter will be investigated.
Mimi nitatafuta wale ambao watakuwa wanatoa hiyo pesa. Because nitapambana na mtu ambaye anaeneza corruption. Nikipata unatoa pesa, wewe na yule ambao unampatia nyote, mtapata shida.
Some of the area leaders now want the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i to order a probe into police roadblocks across the country, maintaining that most of them have become cash cows.
Tunataka Matiang'i akuja hapa afanye ukaguzi, kwa sababu Kipkelion hapa si askari ya kulinda amani, lakini ni wezi tubu.
Fuateni sheria kuanzia mwanzo mpaka mwisho. Tembea na reflector yako mzuri. Tembea na helmet yako mzuri. Ofisa akushike, pia tuingililie kati tujue imekuwa namna gani.
The operators are threatening to withdraw their services if action is not taken against the OCS. They also want the number of roadblocks to be reduced. Kevin Mutai, NTV in Kericho County.
Something we have actually been feeling at the moment, and about 100,000 Kenyans have lost their jobs to date since August last year. This is according to the Central Organization of Trade Union, KOTU.
Political uncertainty and instability witnessed in the 2017 election year contributed to layoffs and had a negative impact on businesses in the country.
Speaking during the launch of KOTU's strategic plan for the year 2018 through to 2022 in Nairobi, the Secretary General Francis Atwoli called for dialogue between the two political sides to prevent further job losses owing to the prolonged political temperatures in the country.
People are going to lose jobs because these huge firms which used to advertise with newspapers are not coming. They are not releasing their money to this country. We are feeling it. We are Tomboya Labour College. We cannot effectively manage the college now. So let us sit down and discuss. We are not saying they should agree, but the moment they start talking, and I've said this will create investor confidence, and it will brighten up the faces of the poor Kenyans.
Further afield now, the U.S. government partial shutdown is ending after Republicans and Democrats voted for a temporary funding bill.
The Democratic leadership agreed to back the bill after accepting promises from Republicans for debate later on the future of young illegal immigrants.
Well, NTV's Layla Mohammed is in Wisconsin and brings us the story of federal workers and how such events affect their livelihoods.
Carl Hootman is not new to government shutdowns here in the U.S. He says that as much as there was concern over an imminent shutdown in 2018, he had a feeling that it would come to pass.
Here we go again. Yeah, we were here 5 years ago. And this morning we had a meeting at 9 o'clock where we were basically all told, shut our computers down, put outgoing messages saying the government is closed. We're doing what's called an orderly shutdown because, you know, we've had a lapse in funding.
The research chemical engineer for the Forest Service was also affected when the United States government shut down in October 2013.
It seems, you know, the congressional environment just seems a little more hostile. You know, there's a bunch of legislation going on right now that are kind of anti-employee. And then this just feels like, well, we don't care about the federal employees, let's just shut them all down.
Huitman, who is the president of his local chapter of the National Federation of Federal Employees Union, says that even after going through this in 2013, nothing really can prepare an individual for such circumstances.
You know, it has a much broader impact than just me. You know, I have students who work with us from the university. They're not supposed to come into the buildings. They have experiments running. And you know, it just is very, very disruptive. And especially if we come back tomorrow and say, oh, well, never mind, you're all open now.
The U.S. government shutdown is one that the Trump administration is fighting to revert. Previously, the president was quoted as expecting the then President Barack Obama to undo the damage. And while this crisis currently falls on his lap, many in key sectors like military, federal security agencies and other government offices are looking up to not only him, but the House of Congress and Senate to fix the mess.
We come to agreement on an outline for DACA and border security. If we have those agreements, now it won't be all spelled out because we're not writing appropriations bills.
They want to deal on immigration. And then they'll think about reopening the government. It is a shakedown strategy.
And Trump, if you are listening, it's almost as if you were rooting for a shutdown.
Perhaps across the aisle, some of our Democratic colleagues are feeling proud of themselves, their very own government.
Under the impression that it's just going to be another kind of short extension. It's not actually going to be resolving the whole budget issue once and for all. You know, this kind of coming up to the brink regularly is really quite kind of annoying. And the other thing that's going on is we don't even have a budget. You know, we're told just kind of stay the course, don't spend any money.
The president's inauguration anniversary has been dampened by the shutdown. Over the weekend, ladies were joined by men in many parts of the country to hold demonstrations against the current administration, just as they did a day after Donald Trump was sworn in as the 45th U.S. president last January. Leila Mohammed, NTV, in Wisconsin, United States.
Right, Leila's story brings us to break time on NTV Tonight. Do stay with us. There's more coming up, and that includes the business news with Hudayfa Aiden. Don't go far.
Freedom Data Bundle, the only data bundle that gives you free SMS, free WhatsApp, free Telcom to Telcom calls, and free 4G data. Double data, double freedom. Dial *544# today and experience real freedom. Telcom, moving with you. Terms and conditions apply.
Wondering what there is to see in Kenya?
Let's go!
Go on an adventure with Roots as they take on East Africa's longest zipline challenge. Paintballing.
It's gonna be fun.
Fly fishing at the forest.
Go for it, Aki.
Watch their full journey and other exciting travel videos on the Tembea Kenya na Mimi YouTube channel and Facebook page.
Celebrate Kenya's favorite radio and TV personalities on the evening of 3rd February at Radisson Blu Upper Hill for the unveiling of the nominees of the first Radio and Television Personality Awards. Special guest performances by Nigeria's D'banj and Kenya's Elani. To book your space, call 0743 946 692. The Radio and TV Personality Awards is powered by Manifold Concepts.
Coming soon, a new diaper from Pampers that leaves your baby in the mood for cuddles. Launching January 2018. Pampers, wishing you love, sleep and play.
Karaja is there connected. My beautiful wife, you're connected.
Hi, Daddy. Please say hi to my boyfriend.
Scoot over.
Dad.
Who are you?
Eric.
Eric who? From where? When and why?
Eric
It doesn't matter. Bring me the Bogwa Destroyer. Boy child. Leo, umepatana na simba wa nyumba. Not my daughter. What internet do you use? I use fiber. What speeds? 30 Mbps. Si unaona nimewajenga na 5 times the speed.
Nyumba tujenga sana. No buffering, no downtime, super fast speeds. There is nothing as good as fiber.
Ah, my son, karibu. Oh, this guy have blackberry, some cranberry juice.
You guys want some juicy fruit?
Yeah, sure.
Juicy fruit, now also available in bubble gum. More bubble, more fun.
It's a sunshine smile, makes me feel this way. When I can't see through, when I'm feeling blue.
You're a real beauty. Oppo F5. Capture the real you.
Hello everybody, welcome to NTV Business. My name is Hudayfa Aden. Now, Kenya's Lokicha to Lamu oil pipeline has been handed a lifeline after French oil firm Total SA recommitted to channel as the only evacuation route for Kenya's crude oil from the Lokicha fields. Total, which owns 25% interest in the Lokicha oil blocks, renewed its commitment to the pipeline in a meeting between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Momar Nguer, the firm's president for marketing and services. The deal now allays earlier fears that the company was planning to transport the oil through the Uganda-Tanzania pipeline and shines some new light to Kenya's Lamu Port South Sudan-Ethiopia transport corridor LAPSSET, which has recently lost the interest of neighbors Ethiopia and Uganda. Now, the Central Bank of Kenya has projected a growth of 6.2% for the economy this year, even with the interest rate cuts which the governor says are acting as a brake to the economy. The governor describes the growth as a baseline growth and is convinced that a combination of positive factors in the economy working in concert could make it even higher. Here's Alex Mwangi with the latest from the Central Bank in growth numbers.
Last year, economic growth was projected to come close to 6%. But is now expected to approach 5% once the fourth quarter figures are ascertained.
On a baseline sort of way, baseline meaning without any policy action, we are projecting growth for 2018 in the order of 6.2, right? 6.2%. But this actually, I have to tell you, is a baseline, meaning it does not include significant positive factors that we expect that could be expected to work or to be deployed in 2018. We did not project in there substantial growth in exports as one could expect arising from the SGR.
The significant positive factors that the governor is referring to include a combination of 4 factors, namely sound fiscal policies, the removal of interest rate caps, reforms in the banking sector, and improvement in the trade environment for businesses to thrive.
So far, the interest rate caps have been acting as a brake to the economy. I don't know if any of you have ever driven around with your brake still on. Eventually, something breaks.
The 6.2% growth projection represents robust growth for an economy that is far from attaining the growth targets envisioned in Vision 2030. I asked the governor if the CBK was becoming too ambitious.
So actually, we are in a pretty strong position. And actually, what we see more of is the upside risk, which we haven't incorporated in the 6.2. So in a sense, let's get positively surprised. We are not into, at least the central bank is not into this business of making projections as, to make a statement. We stand by our projections.
The central bank governor has defended the government's debt position, pointing out that his team does not perceive it as being unsustainable. Dr. Njoroge cautioned against the possibility of the nation resting on its laurels given its improvement in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index from position 92 to 80 last year.
It's not an issue of where we fall, in terms of ranking. It's an issue of how are businesses affected. And in a sense, we need to improve that. That is essential. in particular ways.
Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Now, it will cost you more than 2 trillion shillings to provide affordable housing for the masses over the next 5 years. This is according to the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, which says that the government has already entered into an agreement with the private sector to construct 1 million targeted housing units at a cost of 3 million shillings each. Affordability of housing still remains a big challenge for most Kenyans, even as Has Consult reports that a 3.9% decline in rental income in 2017. Our reporter Laban Cliff with that report and how it impacts on government's housing project.
Finding a house in Kenya's upmarket areas of Kileleshwa and Lavington is no longer a difficult task, since many developers have increasingly focused most of their energy to such markets. The increased attention means that these leafy suburbs have become oversupplied, leaving many of their houses unoccupied. This is according to Has Consult's property index, which notes that rental income in Lavington fell by 14.4%, while in Kileleshwa by 13.2%. The oversupply of commercial spaces in Upper Hill has also been counterproductive.
Highest rental declines were reported in Upper Hill at 9.4%. The growth of Upper Hill as a commercial suburb has seen a reduction in supply of new residential houses.
Overall, we noted that the property price appreciation continued to be sluggish in the fourth quarter as asking prices stabilized, following some slowdown in inquiries and sales closures in the first 10 months of the year.
The impact of banks' capped interest rates reared its ugly head, with real estate players saying the reduction in liquidity impacted negatively on housing.
The sad story here is that developers will move to international funding. The local banks are the ones that will suffer from what is happening. I know that something must happen if the local banks are going to play a serious part in the local market.
Even as property prices in high-end areas dampens, developers are now slowly turning to the income market, a segment that has often been overlooked in terms of decent and affordable housing. The gap for affordable housing is what the government is looking to fill under the National Urban Development Policy, which seeks to put 1 million houses over the next 5 years at a cost of 2.3 trillion shillings. This will be done through a private sector agreement with land and tax exemptions offered as incentives.
We do own up as a public sector that we need total support from the private sector. Specific interventions include reduction of corporate tax and scrapping of levies charged by the National Construction Authority and the National Environmental Management Authority. Related legislations are also being reviewed to address release of affordable funds for both supply and demand sides for affordable housing. Counties are also encouraged to invest in the social housing to cater for the influx of people moving to the county headquarters from the rural areas in search of employment and business opportunities.
This came up during an urbanization and housing workshop as a Vision 2030 pillar. The forum also looked at developing Nairobi as a master city to accommodate the rising urban population. Laban Cliff-Onserio, NTV Business.
Now, national carrier Kenya Airways and Royal Dutch Airlines KLM have signed an extended general sales agent agreement for European and Eastern African countries. The new agreement enables KQ and KLM to sell more flights to and from Europe and East Africa and destinations beyond Amsterdam and Nairobi. This extension comes at a time when Kenya Airways, under its new ownership structure, is pushing to renegotiate the joint venture agreement with KLM. Kenya Airways is also eyeing ticket sales to U.S. government-funded travelers once it signs a code-sharing agreement with American Airlines Delta Airways. Now, fishermen in Port Victoria want the county government of Busia to revive a cold storage facility built at Marenga Beach to save them from exploitation by middlemen. The over 300 fishermen have decried what they termed as huge losses occasioned by the lack of a cooling plant at the fish landing beach. Oko Kusa once was at Port Victoria and filed this report.
The catch is bounty, but the income is low. That's what the fishermen here say.
Kilo moja ya samaki nauza shilingi 300 mbuta. Then Nile perch
hapa nauza shilingi 300 pia. So bei haijamarika vile vile.
Frederick, a fisherman with more than 10 years experience, says the unpleasant prices are results of desperation.
Kunafika wakati kunakuwa na samaki wengi na hamna mahali mnapeleka. So kama hii mradi ya cold storage inaweza simamishwa, inaweza anzishwa na county government na ifanye kazi na tuwe na value addition hapa. Gharama ya bei ya kilo ya samaki itapanda.
The Marenga cold storage was established between 2002 and 2005 by the European Union in partnership with Community Development Trust Fund and Budalangi Constituency Development Fund. More than 40 million shillings was used to set it up. However, 1 year later, one of the machines broke down, and in 2013, the facility ground to a halt. The manager of the cooperative society, Joachim Mukoya, told NTV on phone that they require at least 2 million shillings to revive the plant. The facility has the capacity to process up to 30 tons of fish per day. Before it collapsed, it used to produce ice, which was sold to fish transporters and traders. Joachim said the plant could generate incomes of up to 400,000 shillings per month on ice sales alone. In the last 3 years, fish incomes have soared from 4 million shillings in 2009 to 54 million shillings last year. In 2017, Busia County produced about 270 tons of fish, which was largely sold locally. Okukusa, NTV.
The Board of Directors of Sarova Hotels has appointed Jimmy Karaoke as the new managing director, replacing J.S. Vohra, who was killed in a road accident last year. Karaoke has more than 20 years' experience in the hotel industry and is also the current chairman of Kenya Tourism Board. His appointment takes effect immediately. There are many projects that are aimed at growing use of renewable energy, but the speed of growth of renewables is not commensurate. This is according to Valentino Rossi from NL Energy Green Power, who are investors in Kenya's green energy space. This slower than expected growth is despite the government saying that the financial sector is very keen on funding the projects. This was revealed at the Energy Renewable Solutions for Africa Expo, which kicked off today in Nairobi. The event seeks to assess progress made, foster further dialogue, and discuss best practices for effective renewable energy deployments in the region. That's it for business. My name is Hudayfa Adin. Have yourselves a lovely night.
At Karatina University, creativity and innovation.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, when he was getting into office, U.S. President Donald Trump promised to revamp industries in America that had rapidly declined, earning regions with such industries the Rust Belt.
Well, he promised to bring more jobs into coal and steel mining, industries that have been affected by cheaper products and alternatives available from other countries and new technologies that have reduced the workforces in the plants.
Our reporter Andrew Cheng is in the United States and filed the following report of the expectations of steel workers 1 year into the presidency of Donald Trump.
The fumes of the steel mills in Cleveland, Ohio defiantly light the skies. This particular plant has gone through permanent closures, bankruptcies and even idle times, but it lives on with the new leases of life it has gotten.
We have 1,580 people that work in this mill. In 2001, when our steel mill closed, we never knew if it would open up or not at that time. We had 3,200. So we're making the same amount of steel now with half the people basically. And technology has some role in that, but also jobs have been combined. Hiring is not like it's used to, so we've lost a lot of jobs in this process as well.
It is the face of steel production here in Cleveland, one of the swing states that voted for President Donald Trump in 2016. Yet traditionally, most of the workers in these industries who belong to trade unions have always been allied to the Democratic Party.
I think our members felt that did vote Republican that we didn't have the right candidate out there the last time. And if the Democrats would have had a stronger candidate with less baggage, the middle class people, the working people like the ones in this mill, felt like they were forgotten about by the Democratic Party.
Okay, folks. And with the 1 year already served, they believe the president has not done enough for the industries here. They still believe that the production is being affected by the unfair importation of underpriced steel.
He said he would renegotiate NAFTA. The steelworkers believe in fair trade, not free trade. If I had my way, NAFTA would be the North American Fair Trade Agreement, not the Free Trade Agreement.
So help me God. The major infrastructure projects that Trump promised have not been there. They also wonder why some of the military hardware is being made by steel imported from elsewhere, a national security threat in their eyes. All this, they say, is the president's fault. He has not made good his promises from the campaign trail.
I didn't vote for the man, so I don't have any regrets. I respect him. He's my president. Even though I didn't vote for him, I'm not one to walk around and say he's not my president. He's my president. I regret that he hasn't lived up to his promises. He's still got 3 years. It was just a 1 year anniversary of his inauguration. I would like to see him live up to his promises and take care of the American workers.
While in terms of the number of people it employs, it can no longer compete with service industries like the Cleveland Clinic, one of the largest hospitals here in America, and Walmart supermarkets, the steel industry still contributes significantly to the economy here, through salaries to its employees and taxes to the state, and workers hope that the president will keep his promises and change how politics is played in Washington. Andrew Ochieng, NTV.
All right, it is now time for the sports news that's coming up in a moment.
Watson Karuma is back and ready and excited. So you better be wearing a smile on the other side of the studio, Watson, for the sports news.
Is he really excited to be back? So. We'll find out. Stay with us.
Indeed, Smriti and Mark, I am glad to be back. But unfortunately, my first story is not such a good story because the national under-19 cricket team's baptism of fire at the World Cup continued as they once again wrote themselves into the record books for all the wrong reasons. A dominant batting performance from Sri Lanka built around a staggering 191 from Hasita Boyagoda saw them record the highest under-19 ODI score in their history and the fourth highest for all teams to help them thrash Kenya by 311 runs, the joint second biggest winning margin in under-19 ODI history. This was a fourth harsh lesson on the field in succession for Jimmy Kamande's charges. Kenya has been on the receiving end of 5 centuries, 2 of them world record innings, 2 400-plus scores, 40 ball 90 and a 21 ball 53. For their win, Sri Lanka proceed to the plate semi-final to face Zimbabwe. Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa has assured that all will be well despite the withdrawal of sponsors. Mwendwa says the federation is working hard to ensure that the game is played despite the withdrawal of SportPesa as sponsors.
It's a tough time, especially because I'm well informed that the KPL has not secured a broadcaster. And therefore there's a gap in funding as has been created since last year. SportPesa is not there. My message is that we are doing everything. We shall do everything as FKF to ensure that the game is played. Not only that the game is played, but the player does not lose. And that's what our job is. We have sensitized government to understand that it means losing jobs. Loss of funds means loss of jobs. Not only for the 16 clubs, but for the NSL, the Division 1 and the Division 2. And therefore, we cannot play around with jobs for our youth. So that's why we're going every day and pushing very hard to make sure that this gap is understood and it's covered. I am pretty sure that very soon you'll start seeing good news.
11 new players were unveiled today as former Premier League champions Tusker FC announced their squad for the new season. Among the latest acquisitions are Apollo Otieno, Timothy Otieno, Peter Nzuki, Edwin Lavatsa, Bonventure Kasabuli, Matthew Tayo Odongo, Lawrence Kasada, Robert Achema, Amos Asembeka and Eric Ambunya. Vincent Amumbo has been recalled from Western Stima where he was on loan last season. Apart from acquiring new players, Tusker will begin the season with a new head coach with Ugandan Sam Timbe replacing countryman George Nsimbe. The team kicks off their campaign away to Chemelil on the 3rd of February.
I will do my best to see that I lift the team to where it's a respectable place. Well, performance the other matches we have been having, I think, over 5 matches, I think.
Lakini kulingana na ile position tulimaliza, hawezi pata nafasi ya kuwa national team. Sasa nikaona ni vyema mimi kubadilisha toka Bandari kuja Tusker, maana pia ni timu ambayo ambayo pia inang'ang'ania ligi ya Kenya. Wako pale juu na wakiwa pale juu pia kama mchezaji kucheza vizuri unapata nafasi kuitoka national team.
Africa Club Hockey Champions Telkom Kenya believe they can overcome the host clubs in their bid to a 10th title in Accra, Ghana. Telkom next play Ghana Revenue Authority and Ghana Police. This as Strathmore University battle Nigerian sides seeking to improve their rankings. Brian Otwal reports from Ghana.
2 matches stand in the way of African champions Telkom Kenya in their journey to the finals as they seek to defend their Africa Hockey Club Championship title for a 6th consecutive time and a 10th overall. Led by coach Joe Sopenda, who is seeking to win the title without conceding, the African Queens are wary of the threat the hosting clubs pose as they seek to dethrone them on home soil. Telkom faced finalists from last year's edition Ghana Revenue Authority in the opening match of the day.
Our starting 11 has been the same. I assume I'm not the coach, but I assume that same strategy. Whatever is keeping us winning, we're going to keep with it.
We are ready for them. We believe we are going to beat them if we meet them, and we are good to go.
The Ghana Tax Ladies lie top of the women's standings on better goal difference, having scored 13 goals against Telkom's 9 in second place. Telkom have scored 9 goals and conceded none so far.
We have the two Ghanaians team. That's where the tournament begins now, because now it's against Ghana. There's no other team that's coming in. We have too many missed chances. Those are some of the things that we want to work on tomorrow and see how best we can rectify them before we get into the last games of the match against the Ghanaians.
The coaches are doing a perfect job so far, preparing the team well. We are keen to listen to their advice and we are keen to follow them.
Both teams have won all their 3 matches, moving into the 4th round of matches. Telkom will then battle Ghana Police in the last round robin tie on Thursday. Meanwhile, Strathmore University Scorpions are seeking to finish in a better position. They stand out of the medal bracket so far after losing in 3 matches against Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Police as well as compatriots Telkom, to lie 5th on the standings without a point. Strathmore will face 4th placed Kada Queens before taking on bottom placed Yobe Desert Ladies.
We'll keep working hard, and I know it will come, the next goal. The next match will be ours.
We're still within our second target. Our first target is clearly gone, but our second target is still achievable. We will see how it pans out.
Battle for the men's title is between defending champions Eastern Company and El Sharkia, both of whom have collected 7 points from 3 matches. El Sharkia, however, lead the table standings on better goal difference, having scored 13 goals and conceded 4, against Eastern's 5 goals scored and conceded twice. El Sharkia and Eastern face off on Wednesday in an all-Egyptian duel. Nigeria Flickers face compatriots Police Machine, while GRA men take on Trustees in a local derby. A win for Telkom will take them to the top of the standings and a chance to defend the title for the 10th time and a record 6th in a row. The top 2 sides will battle it out in Saturday's final, with the competition coming to a close on Saturday. Brian Otual at the Theodosia Oko Stadium in Ghana.
Kenya's rising star Brian Mutua and experienced top lady player Sejal Taka are looking forward to excelling during the ITTF Africa Top 16 Championships slated for Nairobi in March. Mutua, a product of Kenya Table Tennis Association's Tucheze Tebo program, is one of the fastest rising youngsters and a prodigy from the Mwala High School production line. Sejal, the Never Say Never women's table tennis star, will be playing her 4th Commonwealth Games for Kenya this year after having the feel of the Top 16 Championships in Nairobi. This year's Africa Top 16 includes the creme de la creme of Africa, who have encouraged many new regional competitors to show interest in the Nairobi 2018 edition. Cup holders Aruna Kadri of Nigeria and Meshref Dina of Egypt are the star attractions.
These top 16 players that are coming are obviously very strong and experienced players. Some of them are world ranked and we've got a lot to learn from them, and we look forward to not only playing with them but to get a lot of tips from them as well.
I believe this will be a good exposure for the upcoming Commonwealth Games that will be in April.
Now, in tonight's final Group C matches of the ongoing Africa Nations Championship, Anton Hayes Amavumbi of Rwanda face Libya as Nigeria takes on Equatorial Guinea. Last night, the Chipolo Polo of Zambia drew 1-1 with Namibia, still finished top of Group B.